I'm here with Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Coach Greg Preston, and first-time appearance for your school. This has got to be an exciting time for you and the community.
It really is. I mean, all the kids have worked really awfully hard the last 2-3 years. We got a lot of guys that are seniors this year, and so they've been thinking about this and playing as hard as they could, and looks like a dream come true here for a lot of them.
Maybe some of our viewers don't know about Hillcrest Lutheran Academy, but I grew up in Otter Tail County, so I have played there. And what can you tell our viewers just a little bit about your school?
It's a private Christian school. It's a Lutheran Brethren affiliate, and Fergus Falls, Minnesota, and it's kind of known as the castle on the hill. Awfully small gym that we play in there. In fact, most of our home games that we played at the community college in Fergus Falls this year.
What have you done now since you've been here, first-time appearance, to prepare your team and, you know, kind of keep them from getting caught up in all of the excitement and stay focused on what you're here to do?
Well, I think, you know, all along, these guys have been focused every game to play basketball. And so in many ways, our approach is pretty similar to what it's been each game. Get ourselves prepared to play defensively. We came down yesterday, had a good practice at Bethel College, and got them in early. And I think they're got a good scouting report, know a little bit about Carlton, so they're ready to play.
Okay, what is your game plan today, Coach? What do you think the keys for you are going to be?
Well, like most of the season, our guys have played pretty well defensively and also control the game control the ball or the tempo on the offensive end. And we have kind of a unique situation where I think we can push the ball up or play a pretty decent half-court game. And so we kind of take a look as the game goes along, the first 2 or 3 quarters, to see which way we're going to go.
Well, in the girls' tournament, we had some foreign exchange students making a difference, and you were fortunate enough to get a 6'9" player. Can you tell us a little bit about him? Right.
He's only played, I think, organized basketball maybe for a year, so he's had a few things to learn, but I'll tell you, he's a smart kid. He's a quick learner, and it doesn't hurt being 6'9". And actually, he came in during the Red Lake game and had 6 big defensive rebounds and had a big basket at the end of the half, and so, you know, he's kind of a spot player that rests our post player, and he's been playing much better lately.
Well, to defeat #1 Red Lake had to have been very excited. Obviously, a team that the state has become very familiar with over the last couple of years. That must have been a real highlight for you and the guys.
Well, it was. It was an electric atmosphere at Concordia College in Moorhead, and they just bring a great crowd. They had about 3,500 people there, and, you know, our guys continued to stay focused and did those things that we feel we have to do today. They played well defensively and controlled the tempo of the game the first 3 quarters. Then we went on a 22-2 run, pushing the ball a little bit, or quite a bit actually, and so that helped us to beat Red Lake.
Well, congratulations on getting this far, and good luck today, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Greg Preston, the head coach of Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. They'll be up in our next semifinal game. Stay with us here at Williams Arena.
We're back at Williams Arena, our second Class 1A semifinal game coming up. As you see, Hillcrest Lutheran Academy of Fergus Falls against Carlton. Should be interesting, Janet Carvenden. 2 teams with only 3 losses between them. I think we can look forward to a good matchup this afternoon. I'm Roger Buxton, Janet Carvenden. I got to tell you one thing, though, for flat-out, go get them downright fun. These teams are going to be hard-pressed to match those first 2. That was a great game to watch.
Oh, it was. It was really anybody's game up until the very last minute or 2. And both teams left their heart and soul right here on the floor at Williams Arena.
Absolutely. Hillcrest Lutheran Academy appearing in the tournament for the first time in school history. Not so for Carlton. This is their 3rd appearance, including a 2nd-place finish last year, but a game they certainly don't look back on with much pleasure, Janet, because they took a pretty good pasting, 27 points to Norman County East. So the Bulldogs, clearly the team with something they'd like to get off their chest here in this tournament.
That's right. We saw a team in the girls' tournament. Cretin-Derham Hall had a similar situation. They had been thumped the year before by Jefferson by, I think, 30 points. And they were decisive winners in the girls' Class 4A and came back, bounced back from that runner-up finish and being able to hold their head high with a nice finish. I'm sure they would like to see that happen if possible. But Hillcrest Lutheran Academy, interesting story there for them to defeat the #1 team in Red Lake. And they are featuring a freshman who scored 23 points in the quarterfinal game against Red Lake, Nick Hansen. And it's not very common that you'll see a 9th grader starting and being the main player at any of the 4 classes.
That's exactly right. Red Lake had one of those games where they shot very poorly, and Hillcrest Lutheran took advantage of that and won the game quite handily in the quarterfinals of the tournament. So the makings of a good matchup here. Carlton with something to prove, perhaps, and Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. Sometimes, Janet, when you're the first time in the tournament, you get on there with the attitude, hey, we'd like to win, but boy, let's make sure we enjoy the ride. And I expect we'll see some of that from Hillcrest today.
That's true, although I think for a team like that, when it is their first time, it means everything. And in visiting with their coach, Coach Preston, they are very focused and very ready. And interestingly enough, he and Mike Devney were actually living in Eau Claire at the same time growing up. So the two coaches featured in today's game are acquaintances from their high school days and growing up at Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So it's kind of an interesting note here in Minnesota basketball.
Okay, should be exciting. Our Class A semifinal game coming up. We'll be back in just a moment. Back at Williams Arena for our second Class 1A semifinal game of the afternoon. It should be exciting, not only because we're expecting good basketball, Janet, but one of the charms of the small communities is everybody has to play, otherwise you don't have enough players, and everybody shows up from the entire community. That's one of the best things about it. All right, let's meet the cheerleaders, mascots, and, of course, the players. Here's our public address announcer, Bob Reed.
Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Williams Arena for the second semifinal game in Class 1A. Before we meet the complete roster for both teams, let's greet the cheerleaders. We'll start with the visiting team this afternoon, a record now of 24-2, the Section 5 champions, the Hillcrest Lutheran Academy Comets. Please say hello to Gretchen Whalen, Subasa Sazafsky, Kim Peterson, Kim Rangan, Marilee Wold, Melissa Starkey, Sarah Helen, Tina Ashe, Wendy Spahn, Anna Ashe, and Crystal Gazzola, the Hillcrest Lutheran Academy cheerleaders. And now introducing the home team cheerleaders today, the Section 7 champions, a record now 26-1, the Carlton Bulldogs. Please greet Alicia Allen, Ann Moline, Jolene Underland, Candace Courier, Sarah DeCaney, Courtney Rowe, Lisa Runstrom, Dana Wappus, the mascots Ryan Lee and Travis Fast, the Carlton cheerleaders and mascots. And now introducing first the reserves for the visiting team from Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. Wearing the light-colored visitor's jersey, starting with a 6-foot sophomore guard, number 14, Donovan Rogness. 5'11", ninth grade guard, number 20, Luke Hansen. 5'9", senior guard, number 22, Jesse Arbuckle. 6'1", junior forward, number 24, Bill Nelson. 5'11", senior guard, number 30, Ben Backstrom. 6'1", senior forward, number 34, Scott Christopherson. 6-foot senior guard, number 40, Nick Schmidt. 6'4", senior center, number 45, Douglas Rogness. 5'11" junior forward, number 54, Matt Brew. And a 6'9" junior center, number 55, Kjetil Wilkinson. And now introducing the reserves for the home team from Carlton. Wearing the dark-colored home jerseys, a 5'10" junior guard, number 3, Damian Bryant. .5'10" junior guard, number 5, Nick Hannanen. Six-foot, ninth-grade forward, number 10, Adam Bailey. .59" sophomore guard, number 12, Paul Crato. .58" sophomore guard, number 15, Kalen Coppola. .62" junior guard, number 20, Paul Stein. .58" sophomore guard, number 23, Doug Kurtula. .62" junior guard, number 33, Chris Munch. .61" senior forward, number 40, Matt Kurtula. And .61" senior forward, number 45, Chris Sauter. And now introducing the starting lineup, alternating by teams. At guard for Hillcrest Academy, 5'9" junior, number 4, John Kildee. And at guard for Carlton, 5'10" senior, number 24, Joe Bain. At the other guard for Hillcrest Academy, 5'11" senior, number 15, Ryan Garvin. And for Carlton, 6'1" senior, number 30, Sam Pearsall. At center for Hillcrest Academy, 6'3" freshman, number 42, Nick Hansen. And for Carlton, 6'4" senior, number 34, Mike Wilson. At forward for Hillcrest Academy, 6'3" senior, number 44, Daniel Berge. For Carlton, 6' senior, number 22, Dan Jones. At the other forward for Hillcrest Academy, 6'2" senior, number 32, Dan Scheid. And for Carlton, 6' senior, number 21, Tim Munch. The coaches for Hillcrest Lutheran Academy, the assistant Craig Nurston, and the head Comets coach, Greg Preston. For Carlton, the assistant is Derek Wheats, and the head Bulldogs coach, Mike Devney. The officials for this game are John McLean and Bob Marr. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the game, introducing one member of each team. For Hillcrest Lutheran Academy, number 22, Jesse Arbuckle, and for Carlton, number 20, Paul Stein.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Minnesota State High School League State Basketball Tournament. We appreciate your attendance at this tournament and hope you enjoy it.
The state basketball tournament is being played under the rules of the Minnesota State High School League. These rules provide for fair play and good sportsmanship among players and coaches. As athletes, we ask that spectators promote the ideals of good sportsmanship, fair play, and respect for our opponents and the calls of the officials.
Thank you, Paul Stein and Jesse Arbuckle.
It'll be Hillcrest Lutheran Academy of Fergus Falls against Carlton. The winner of this game to play Southwest Minnesota Christian tomorrow afternoon for the Class A championship. The starting lineups for Hillcrest: Hanson, Scheid, Berge, Kilde, and Garvin. Carlton: Jones, Pearsall, Wilson, Munch, and Bain. Carlton, the runner-up in Class A last year, so some familiar faces and names on that team. If some of the names on the Hillcrest roster sound a bit familiar too, they should, because they played in the nine-man championship game in the Prep Bowl back in November with a lot of the same people. Here we go. Opening tip-off goes to Carlton. Wilson pitches it back out front to Jones. Man-to-man defense for Hillcrest. Jones to Munch. Looking inside for Wilson. Wilson played well in this tournament a year ago, Jen. I recall him. He was a pretty good-sized young man and pretty active. Their top guy, though, is number 30. That's Sam Pearsall. He'll be a man to watch for Carlton here this afternoon. This is Pearsall. Picked up there by Garvin. They look inside for Wilson. Knocked away from him. Recovered by Hillcrest. So the Comets with a record of 24-2 move into the forecourt with Ryan Garvin. Kilde. An aggressive man-to-man here by Carlton. Shot tipped loose, recovered by the Bulldogs.
Well, Wilson's presence there definitely made the shot altered there for Hillcrest. There's a travel, though, on Dan Jones, so we'll come back the other way.
Well, on the turnover, it's Hillcrest Lutheran ball. No score yet, early stages of our 1A semifinal game. Now Kilde into the forecourt for Hillcrest Lutheran. Picked up there by Bain. Garvin will try the three. Well, 3-0 Hillcrest.
Pearsall was denying, and he got caught out of position.
Saw a little full court pressure off a successful basket there by Hillcrest Lutheran. Here's Munch looking for some help for Carlton. Can't find it. Ian takes a timeout. We see that often in a tournament. After a successful field goal or free throw, team comes out with full court pressure.
Well, after a made basket, it's a good time to be able to set up something full court or something different. It's pretty tough out of a missed basket situation for everybody to get organized. And after a make, you've got a little more time, Roger. So it's something that you've got to expect after the make.
Well, Garvin didn't hesitate. Got his team on top early.
Garvin did a nice job recognizing that time, though, and stepping right up to hit the first basket of the game.
All right, just a 20-second timeout there for Carlton. Well, we're ready to go again. Pearsall will put the ball in play at midcourt for the Bulldogs. Well, one of the officials talking to both teams. I'm not sure about what. Looks like it has something to do with the shoe. Well, maybe the socks are sock logos. Oh, no. No, huh?
I think we're...
Yes, sock logos showing on the Bulldogs. So they get those turned down and covered up, and here we go. This is Munch for Carlton. Now Bain. And Pearsall with a three. That does not go. Rebound to Scheid. Here come the Comets of Hillcrest Lutheran. They lead 3-0. This is Kilde. Ball knocked loose from him, but a foul called. Joe Bain will get the personal. That's his first and his team's first. Ryan Garvin will put it in play for Hillcrest Lutheran. Winner to play Southwest Minnesota Christian tomorrow afternoon at the baseline. Kilde. Rebound to Scheid. Pump fake over Wilson. No good. Rebound Berge. Putback is no good, but a foul is called.
Well, nice job by Hillcrest Academy. There's a good look at Greg Preston. He's got to be happy with how his team is crashing the offensive boards. If they can get a couple, 2-3 shots at the basket, it's really going to help them get off to a good start.
Mike Wilson with the personal foul, his first and his team's second. That's the first point of the afternoon. For Dan Berge, he gets one more. 4-0 Hillcrest. And 5. And again, the full court pressure here by the Comets. Bain in backcourt, looking for some help. Gets it there from Pearsall. Knocked out of bounds off the foot of Dan Berge of Hillcrest. So the Bulldogs get it back.
You know, it's interesting how teams like to throw on a little pressure early, Roger, just to see how the other team handles it. If they handle it well, a lot of times they go away from it and don't even try it again. But if there's trouble with it, it's going to keep coming.
Munch looking inside. They want Wilson down on the blocks. Nothing there this time as Jones kicks it back out. Now Bain and Munch. Munch looking against Scheid. Again, looking inside for Wilson. Had him momentarily. Couldn't get him the ball. Jones down the lane. A foul called.
Looks like it's going to be on the freshman, number 42, Nick Hansen. Hansen's been matched up against Mike Wilson inside. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hansen drew the foul, I believe, didn't he?
Was it Hansen? Okay.
Yeah, Hansen reaching in on the drive by Jones. So Hansen draws the personal, his first and his team's first. No, they gave it to Scheid. I'm sorry. Scheid with the personal. Again, the first personal and the first team foul. So scratch the foul to Nick Hansen. Scheid. Jones will get one more. His team still not on the board with 5:21 to play in the first quarter. Can he get Carlton off the Schneid? Not yet. Here's Hillcrest with a 5-0 lead. Kildee into the forecourt. Kildee. Berge. This is Scheid off balance. Got the shot up, but didn't get enough on it. Here's Pearsall back quickly for Carlton. Pearsall will take it himself. Didn't get the roll. Rebound to Hansen. And back come the Comets with a 5-0 lead. Scheid will take it all the way. Now lays it off to Hansen. The youngster gets it up and in. First basket for the freshman, Nick Hansen. 7-0 lead for Hillcrest Lutheran.
Well, he's a big kid, and he did a nice job there. Just a little turnaround jump shot to the inside.
Jones in the forecourt now for Carlton. The Bulldogs still looking for their first points of the afternoon.
It's unfortunate for them that drive was not successful by Pearsall. He got all the way in for a layup.
Pass intended for Wilson, tipped out of bounds by Hansen. We'll get a couple of substitutions. We'll check them when we return. 4:26 to play in our first quarter on the Jeep scoreboard. Hillcrest Lutheran pitching a 7-0 shutout. Back and ready to go coming out of the timeout. It's going to be Carlton's ball under their own basket. Jesse Arbuckle checking into the game. There's a pass into Jones and a foul called immediately. Berge with the personal, his first and his team's second. Jesse Arbuckle, number 22 in the game after the timeout for Hillcrest Lutheran. A guard at 5'9", a senior. Also in number 40, Nick Schmidt, 6 feet and a senior. Jones at the free throw line. There they're on the board. First point of the day for Dan Jones and Carlton.
Carlton 0 for 3 from the field thus far. We're at 4:24 to play in the first quarter. Hillcrest 2 for 6.
Second free throw for Jones. That one he doesn't get. Rebound to Hansen. So Hillcrest Lutheran with a 7-1 lead and the ball. This is Arbuckle. Picked up there by Pearsall. Now Kildee. Ball knocked loose momentarily, recovered by Arbuckle. He'll take it himself. Blocked away by Wilson, recovered by the Bulldogs. Pearsall on the run for Carlton. For Bain. Bain. To Munch. They'll set it up again. They want Wilson inside, but they haven't had much luck getting it to him so far. The young freshman Hansen doing a good job. Jones again down the lane. Foul called. Offensive foul. Dan Jones, first personal. Third team foul of the half for Carlton. Substitution again for Hillcrest, number 55, Shuttle Vilkinen, 6'9", and a junior.
Wilkinson is a foreign exchange student out of Norway. Number 55, he has not played basketball very long. He's going to be matched up against an experienced Mike Wilson on the inside.
Well, it's the old joke, Janet. You can teach him basketball, but you can't teach him to be 6'9", right?
That's right.
This is Kildy at the baseline for Hillcrest. Doesn't get it. Offensive foul. Kildy. His first personal. And the third team foul for Hillcrest Lutheran. In the ball game for Carlton, number 40, Matt Kurtula. He's a senior at 6'1". So both coaches getting into their bench early. This is Kurtula with the ball, looking for some help there. Gets it to Pearsall. Now Bain. 7-1. Hillcrest Lutheran on top, coming up to the 3-minute mark of our first quarter. Winner will play Southwest Minnesota Christian tomorrow afternoon. This is Wilson. Didn't get it off the glass, tipped loose. Wilson had a hand on it again, out of bounds, off the hands of Arbuckle. And Carlton will put it in play. Scheid coming back for Hillcrest Lutheran, as is Garvin. Garvin number 15, Scheid number 32. Arbuckle leaves, along with Berge. Along the baseline, Kurtula doesn't get it. Rebound, Wilkinson has it knocked loose. Scramble for it. Kurtula is down there along with Schmidt. Will jump it up. Possession arrow goes to Hillcrest Lutheran. And the Comets will put it in play in backcourt. Here's Kildy for Hillcrest. Kildy all the way down the right of the lane. Hit the side of the basket. Recovered there by Pearsall. I'm sure the shot hit the side was out of bounds, so that's the problem. So in backcourt, it'll be Carlton's ball.
Partially blocked also.
Inbounds pass intercepted by Kildy, but he couldn't handle it. Off his hands and out of bounds. And Carlton will get it back. Pearsall will put it in play for Bain. This is Pearsall. 7-1. Hillcrest Lutheran on top. 2.5 minutes to play. There's the interception by Scheid. Comes in with Kilty. Scheid with a shot. Kind of a runner, maybe a little out of control. Wilson winds up all alone at the other end. First basket for Mike Wilson. 7-3. Hillcrest by 4. Well, that ought to put a little charge in Carlton. Anytime you can score and get a dunk to boot, it usually gets you a bit pumped up. Scheid for Hillcrest. Now Garvin. Garvin. Ryan Garvin with 5. Tough shot. 9-3. Hillcrest.
Garvin with a nice 15-footer. Hillcrest has not been real successful. Roger driving in with the height and the shot blocking ability, and Mike Wilson.
Munch has it knocked away, but that's going to be a personal foul against against Scheid. That should be his second, I believe. And again, substitutions coming in for Hillcrest Lutheran. Timeout on the floor, so both teams with a chance to regroup here. 1:48 to play in the first quarter here on the Jeep scoreboard. Hillcrest Lutheran 9-3 over Carlton. Ready to go again. It's going to be Carlton's ball under their own basket. Number 44, Dan Berge, back in the ball game for Hillcrest Lutheran. Underneath, Wilson with the easy one. So Mike Wilson now with 4 points, and Carlton within 4 at 9-5.
Nice out-of-bounds play. Give the assist to Pearsall.
Here's Kildy for Hillcrest Lutheran. Ball knocked loose. Garvin's there and recovers it. And they'll start over again with Kildy at the top of the key. Kildy has it knocked loose. Picks it up. They'll reset again. Almost intercepted. This is Schmidt. Schmidt blocked by Wilson. Loose ball recovered by the Comets. All alone underneath. He'll get another chance at the first basket for Nick Schmidt. 2 points for him. 11-5. Hillcrest Lutheran. Half-court trap here for Hillcrest. This time they have no trouble with it. Pearsall lays it off to Munch. Munch for Kurtula. Knocked away and a foul called. First personal for Nick Schmidt. And the 5th team foul for Hillcrest Lutheran. Two shots coming for Kurtula.
Nice job by Carlton that time once they broke the press to penetrate with an inside pass. Kurtula at the line. You know, this Carlton team in the blue, they're pretty busy outside of the basketball season. They are excellent students. I think their grade point averages for the team is 3.5. And also the top 8 players for Carlton are in the lead roles for the grease production in Carlton. So I don't know where we get our tickets, but I'd love to see that. These are multi-dimensional young men.
Get your visa out. We'll order them right now. There we go. 11-7 after the free throws by Kurtula. Hillcrest with the lead in the ball. Schmidt got in trouble, kind of flung it up there, and they caught a bit of a break there on the personal foul. Matt Kurtula draws the foul, his first and his team's fourth. At the free throw line for Hillcrest Lutheran, Nick Schmidt, the senior, 6 feet. He'll get 2. Well, he was smart enough to recognize the foul, so he flung it up there. You never know. He'll get 1 more. Schmidt misses a pair. Rebound Pearsall. So Carlton with a chance to cut the lead to 2 or 1 with a 3. Here's Munch. Bain playing a little catch there with Kurtula. This is Bain again. They haven't had much luck getting the ball to Wilson. He's got a couple easy layups, but only because he was wide open after a little maneuvering around. They haven't been able to make a good entry pass to him today.
Well, Hansen doing a nice job fronting him there and helping out. Knocks the ball loose that time.
Boy, you can see they want Wilson to have the ball there. Kurtula had a very good opportunity. Matt Kurtula right there at the blocks had a chance to take it up. Instead tried the bounce pass to Wilson. But they do get the ball back. Now the lob inside to Wilson. Pump fake, up and in. Mike Wilson with 6. And that's the end of the quarter. So Carlton labored a bit offensively, but they got a big basket right at the end of the period to draw within 2. 1 quarter in the books of our second 1A semifinal game of the afternoon. As you look at the last basket by Mike Wilson to get his team within 2 points on the Jeep scoreboard. Hillcrest Lutheran Academy by 2 over Carlton. Well, neither team lighting it up so far. Hillcrest Lutheran 4 of 12 from the field, 33%. Carlton 3 of 9, and doing our math, that comes out to 33% as well. But you usually think if you keep playing along, things get a little better. In the state semifinals, they probably will. Here we go with Carlton and a chance to tie or lead with a 3. 11-9, Hillcrest Lutheran. Wilson for Pearsall, lays off to Munch, blocked away nicely by Berge. Big defensive play there by Dan Berge. So Hillcrest retains the lead, and now a chance to extend it. Kildee got it off to Garvin. Saw a little contact there. The official lets it go. Garvin lays it off to Berge. Berge now with 4 points. 13-9, Hillcrest Lutheran in front.
Oh, it's a beautiful pass into Berge, and at 6'3", he really does a lot of things well. Really active on defense.
Bain for Carlton. Now Munch picked up there by Scheid. Early stages of the second quarter. Pearsall for Kurtula, looking inside. Wilson tried to take the shot, take the pass and shoot at the same time. A little bit off balance perhaps, and the rebound comes down to Hillcrest.
That was a really tough shot, and you got to give Hillcrest credit. They're really doing a great job on defense, doubling up on him and make it tough to get the ball. And there's the freshman Hansen.
4 points now for Nick Hansen. Nice entry pass there by John Kildee. And Hillcrest Lutheran by 6 at 15-9. 6.5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Both teams have played man-to-man right from the get-go. There you saw the kick indication. So it'll be Carlton's ball out of bounds.
Number 42 in white Hansen kind of reminds me of my days when I was a freshman playing in the state tournament, because I didn't do anything fancy. I was a low-post player. If you got me the ball in the block, I could hit the turnaround jump shot. And he's just doing the basics right now. They're doing a great job of getting the ball in a good position, and he's really helping them out.
Pearsall with a shot, long rebound to Munch, knocked away by Scheid. Here comes Berge. Berge gets it up and in, and a foul called. Kurdla will draw the personal, his second. Dan Berge now with 6 points and a chance at a three-point play. 8-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran at 17-9.
Well, you can see Berge's leadership. He's really trying to ignite his team and get everybody going.
Substitutions coming in for Hillcrest. We'll get to them in just a moment. Right now we have a timeout on the floor. As you look at that last sequence, Scheid with the interception, or the knocking it loose, I should say, and gets Berge out ahead of everybody, eludes one man, and there's the foul on Kurdler. So Berge a chance at a three-point play on a Channel 9 scoreboard, 17-9, Hillcrest Lutheran. Dan Berge at the free throw line as we resume, trying to complete the three-point play, and there's at least one young lady hoping and cheering for him. Doesn't get it. Ball tipped loose, recovered by Hillcrest. Berge heating up. Doug Rogness in the ball game. Here's number 45 for Hillcrest Lutheran. Here comes Carlton, down by 10 at 19-9. They need a basket. They need to get feeling good about themselves, Janet. Need something good to happen. Here's Wilson. Well, that's a good start.
That might be it right there. Well thrown pass. Wilson, once he gets the ball in the paint, he's very poised. He takes his time, has some nice moves inside, but he's really had to work hard to get the ball today.
This is Arbuckle back in the game also for Hillcrest Lutheran. Arbuckle looking for some help. Gets it there from Kildee, who will try the shot. That's short. Rebound Rogness. Up and in. First basket for Doug Rogness. So just in the game, he makes a little noise for Hillcrest Lutheran. 21-11. Hillcrest again by 10. This is Kurdla. Inside, Pearsall gets the easy one. First basket for Sam Pearsall. 21-13. Hillcrest Lutheran with the lead and the ball. Just under 5 minutes to play now, second quarter. Kildee spins away from the defense. Now Arbuckle. Arbuckle guarded there by Pearsall. At the baseline, Kildee looking inside for Rogness, knocked away. Pearsall recovering for Carlton. So the Bulldogs with a good defensive stand, a chance to cut into that deficit a little more.
That was a tough pass there inside. Mike Devney up right now calling for the triangle. Let's see what that is for Carlton.
Pearsall. Rebound to Berge. Here's Arbuckle into the forecourt now for Hillcrest. They lead 21-13. Arbuckle. Here's Berge. Got some help there from Rogness. They'll reset now. This is Kildee. Kildee all the way.
Oh, that was pretty.
First basket for John Kildee.
That was your textbook hesitation dribble. Just a little bit of a pause, and Kildee accelerated and put it in.
Pushes his team's lead back to 10 at 23-13. So Carlton looking at the deficit. Gets it into Wilson. Wilson right up and in over Rogness. 10 points now for Mike Wilson. The lead is again 8, 23-15. 3:20 to play first half. Kildee behind the back, blocked away by Wilson. Hillcrest will get it back, and the Comets make substitutions. Scheid coming back in along with Hansen and Garvin. Saw Chris Sauter in for the first time for Carlton, number 45, a 6'1 senior. Jones also returned. He started the game. Hillcrest Lutheran with the lead and the ball. All alone underneath is Scheid. Gets it up and in. Scheid's first basket. 7 players have scored for Hillcrest Lutheran, so they're spreading it around pretty well. They lead 25-15. This is Sauter. Bain took a look at the baseline. Bain gets it up over Scheid. Scheid gave it the who me, but I'm not sure the foul's going to be called against him. I think the foul may have come from behind. Hansen, I believe, with the personal. That's his first. 16 foul for Hillcrest Lutheran. And Joe Bain at the free throw line. for Carlton, looking for his first point of the day.
Joe Bain had 20 points in the quarterfinal win over Barnesville, and he only had one 2-point field goal. He was 1 for 1 from 2-point range. He still ended up with 20 points. But he was 6 for 6 from 3-point.
Not worrying about the small stuff there, apparently.
Isn't that something?
Nick Schmidt checked back in, as you saw, for Hillcrest Lutheran. He's number 40. Second free throw by Bain is also good. He has 2 points.
Well, Bain and Pearsall are going to need to step it up a little bit. Pearsall, number 30, is an excellent scorer.
There's the interception. And here's Pearsall. Rebound Garvin. So Carlton doesn't capitalize on the turnover. Here's Hillcrest with an 8-point lead at 25-17. Kildy looking for some help. That's going to be a backcourt violation. If they touch it, they don't get to it. It goes out of bounds. It'll be Carlton's ball. So the Bulldogs of Carlton, I think, Janet, showing just a little more life. We'll see if they can continue that. Just over 2.5 minutes to play here in the first half of our second Class A semifinal game on the UPN 9 scoreboard. Hillcrest Lutheran by 8. Carlton down by 8, but the Bulldogs will put the ball in play. They've been down by 10 3 different times in this quarter, so they're trying to cut into that deficit just a little more. Pearsall will put it in play. Pearsall in for Bain. Picked up there by Arbuckle. This is Sauter. Again, looking inside for Wilson. He's being fronted in there by the freshman Henson. Ball tipped loose. Scheid took a whack at it. They say off Hillcrest, so Carlton gets the ball back again. Pearsall will put it in play for the Bulldogs.
Well, Carlton would like to cut it. They trailed by 10 a few different times here in the first half.
This is Jones. Now Bain again. Jones will try it. That's 3. Rebound Sauter. Sauter up foul called. Hansen will draw the personal. That's his second. And Chris Sauter will go to the free throw line for Carlton. Team foul of the half for Hillcrest Lutheran. First of 2 for Sauter. He gets 1 more. Number 4, John Kildy, checking back in for Hillcrest Lutheran. He's in replacing Arbuckle. Second free throw for Sauter. Sauter gets 1 of 2. 25-18. Hillcrest lead is 7. Full court pressure here by Carlton.
Like a 1-2-1-1 zone press.
Garvin, just got the pass to Scheid. Scheid comes in 3-on-1 to Hansen. 6 points for Hansen. Nearly intercepted. Scheid had been a half step slower. It would have been Carlton's ball. 27-18. Again, Hillcrest by 9. This is Jones for Carlton.
You know, Hillcrest has really played this man-to-man defense tough, Roger. They have not allowed hardly any perimeter shots. Pearsall is 1 for 6 from the field.
Sauter at the baseline for Carlton for Jones. Jones will take it himself. Foul called against Berge. That'll be his second personal. And Dan Jones will go to the free throw line for Carlton. Greg Preston off the Hillcrest bench, shouting some directions using the traditional hand signals. We have no clue what they mean, of course, but they look great, don't they? Looks like he's really working the game. Jones gets 1 more.
He's really struggled from the free throw line today. That would really help Carlton if he would have hit. You see the numbers there, just 1 for 5 right now. His best game came against Cromwell in the regular season, 16 points, 10 rebounds.
1 of 2 for Jones, an 8-point lead now for Hillcrest Lutheran. This is Kildy into the forecourt. Picked up there by Bain. Now Garvin. Garvin underneath for Hansen, knocked loose, but he recovers it. He'll set it up again. Garvin, top of the key. 1 minute to play in the half. Garvin for Kildy. Down the lane, tried to lay it off to Scheid, intercepted by Sauter. Here come the Bulldogs. They're down by 8. Pearsall will take it all the way. Gets the roll. Oh, they're going to call Wilson for goaltending. He went up there. I didn't think he touched it, but the official said he did. So no basket, offensive goaltending to call against Wilson.
You know, I think that ball was going to probably go in anyway.
Oh, I think it was. It was definitely in. You could see it starting to fall. Wilson went up, and I didn't think initially he had touched it. You can see it. Oh, yes, he did, clearly on the rim.
That's too bad.
No argument on that one. Yeah, that ball was in. There's no question. It was definitely going in. So that's a tough break there for Carlton, but they get the ball back again. Still down 8 with 26 seconds to play in the half. Jones. 17 seconds. Pearsall all alone gets the easy one. Sam Pearsall with 4 points. And Carlton back within 6 at 27-21. Last shot coming up for Hillcrest Lutheran. This is Scheid. Scheid will fire away with 1 second, gets it. And Scheid with the basket at the buzzer. Oh, that's a big basket both ways.
It is. Well, Pearsall answered with a beautiful cut on the other end. It looked like they were going to be able to chip away a little bit, but Scheid answers.
So Carlton with a chance to get out of here with a 6-point deficit. Instead, Steve Scheid get a basket at the buzzer, and they go to the locker room down by 8. Here's Andy.
Roger, thank you very much, Coach. Down 29-21. Just give me your thoughts. I see on the sidelines you don't look too happy.
Well, right now I think, missing all those free throws and probably 7 or 8 layups, it's kind of frustrating to watch us play offensively. And then a couple things defensively that mistakes we normally don't make, we made. So we got to make some adjustments and get after them. They got a nice team and they're fundamentally sound. So we got to come out in the second half and get after it.
Coach, good luck in the second thing. All right, Carlton down 21. Down 8 to Hillcrest Lutheran Academy after 2 quarters of play. The Northland Ford halftime report coming your way live from Williams Arena when we come back.
Carlton trying to advance to the 1A championship game for the 2nd consecutive season, but down by 8 at the break as Hillcrest Lutheran Academy has really carried the play for most of the way. Back at Williams Arena, I'm Roger Buxton along with Janet Carvinen. And I think the numbers and really everything about the game, Janet, for the most part, has to go Hillcrest Academy's way. They just have had a little more jump in their step here so far.
Yes, they really have had a lot of balance. They've put good defensive pressure and have made Carlton really work for everything. And they're shooting the ball fairly well also.
One of the things we talked to, here's a couple of the highlights as you look for Carlton. This is Kurtula with the ball. They're looking inside for Mike Wilson as much as possible. They get him this time. And there he gets the basket. 10 points at the half for Wilson. They would like to have done more of that, tried hard, but as Janet indicated, Hillcrest Lutheran played pretty good defense. Here's the last shot of the half by Dan Scheid. You can see by the time it goes through the basket with just about 1 second left on the clock, and that gave his team the 8-point lead at halftime. The statistics, as you see, heavily in favor of Hillcrest. 59% from the field. Free throw shooting fairly incidental, although there's an 8-point spread there. 3-point field goals not a major factor. If anything, 9 of 11 field goals in the second quarter. That's a big stat.
That's huge. They outscored Carlton 18-12 in that second quarter. And I'm sure Mike Devney is hoping they're not going to continue to shoot that
I
well,
would think not.
or it's going to be a long way back.
I think the other thing, Janet, that I'm seeing, sometimes if you just ignore all the numbers and just watch the game, body language will tell you something. And right now, Carlton looks like a very hesitant team to me, almost like they're waiting for somebody on the ball club to grab things and get them going. Everybody else will follow, but so far, nobody's been able to do that.
That's right. I think Sam Pearsall, number 30 in the blue, is one person who needs to step it up. He has 4 points. Joe Bain has 2, so just 6 points between the 2 guards.
I think you're right. Of all the players on the Carlton roster, Pearsall probably the one guy who could take the ball and go get something for himself. Wilson will make something happen, but you have to deliver the ball to him inside. Pearsall may be the man who can create something, and we'll see if he can get his team rolling here in the second half of this game. Winner again to play Southwest Minnesota Christian for the Class A championship tomorrow afternoon here at Williams Arena. Southwest Christian defeating Rushford Peterson in a very entertaining game in our first one this afternoon. It was downright fun to watch. Up and down, wild and woolly, and they went after it pretty good.
It was wild and woolly interviewing the players after the game, too. Some of the fans were almost right in our television pit with us.
They had much to be happy about as they gave Rushford Peterson their very first loss of the season.
I like Williams Arena for a lot of reasons, but I'm not so crazy about how close the fans get to us.
That's not one of them,
They
right?
get pretty wild.
You know, the other thing I would think Mike Debney maybe talked about with his Carlton team, Janet, something like, fellas, we've won 26 of 27 games, but not playing like this. Let's get our motors going a little bit. Gildy with the shot to open the half. Doesn't get it. Rebound Hansen. Up and in. So Nick Hansen, the young freshman now with 8 points, gives his team again a 10-point lead at 31-21.
Hansen is 4 for 4 from the field.
They look inside for Wilson. Double team there immediately. Hansen knocked it loose from behind, and here comes Hillcrest again. Mike Wilson probably held the ball too long. When you're doubled like that, you got to pitch it back out and reset. Here's Hansen trying to work it inside, and a foul called against Wilson. For Wilson, his second personal and the first team foul of the half for either team. 31-21. Hillcrest in front, and Nick Hansen will be at the free throw line trying to extend that lead further.
You know, people forget that if you're a freshman, you know, he could still be 14 years old. He might be 15, but he's a young man out here getting some big-time experience.
Well, by the look of him, I would bet he's no more than 15. He looks like a youngster, and he is. 10 points for Hansen. 33-21, Hillcrest Lutheran by a dozen. Here's Jones for Carlton.
He probably doesn't have his permit yet.
There's Pearsall at the baseline, knocked away. Out of bounds, last touched by Hillcrest. Garvin and Berge kind of looking at each other and smiling, saying, why didn't you get it? Well, why didn't you get it? Anyway, it'll be Carlton's ball. Pearsall will put it in play. And he takes a timeout. Did not like what he saw on the out-of-bounds play. So they'll discuss it and decide what they want to do. They're down by 12. It's just over 7 minutes to play. You can see Mike Debney scratching his head there in the huddle, and with good reason. His team is clearly struggling, just looking for something good to happen, and they're having a hard time with it right now.
Greg Preston's team from Hillcrest Academy doing an excellent job, Roger, in a half-court man-to-man. You know, on the out-of-bounds underneath the basket, most teams will convert and go to a zone, just clog up the middle, but they're staying in the man, covering everything. I really like watching how the weak side players are aware of the ball, their position in relationship to the ball, and how they can be helping out. They're a well-coached team.
Inbounds pass to Bain, now Jones. Well, it's clear that Hillcrest is going to double team Wilson every time he gets the ball, so Carlton needs something from the perimeter. Down the lane. Munch didn't get the roll, recovered by Jones. Carlton gets another chance. They trail by 12 at 33-21. Inside, Wilson has it knocked loose. Recovered by Scheid. He'll fire the baseball pass ahead to Garvin. Lays it back for Berge. Jones knocked it loose. But he must have bounced out of bounds, or Jones had his foot on the sideline. I'm not sure which. I think it bounced out of bounds just before he recovered it. So
I think it's just not going Carlton's way. The drive was unsuccessful there, and they almost had Wilson, but Hansen got a hand on it, and then Larson down here on this end stepping out of bounds. Just a bad breaks for Carlton.
Foul called as Hansen started his move toward the basket. Mike Wilson with his third personal, second team foul of the half. We'll see if Mike Debney makes a move there with 6.5 minutes to play in the third quarter and 3 fouls on his center. Scheid has it knocked right out of his hands on a good defensive play by Munch. Here's Tim Munch into the forecourt for Carlton. Picked his pocket, and away we go. Bain working against Kildee. Here's Munch. Reverse dribble, working against Scheid. Gets it up, no good, but a foul called. And Scheid draws the personal for Dan Scheid. That's his third. So each team now with one of their key players in a bit of foul trouble. Tim Munch at the free throw line for Carlton, looking for his first points of the afternoon.
Munch is one of 3 starters with 3.9 grade point averages. Joe Bain also. Munch and Pearsall all 3.9. Just outstanding.
Munch with one more free throw line. You saw Scheid leave and number 40 Nick Schmidt in to replace him. Schmidt played extensively in the first half.
Munch is going to St. Cloud State next year, Roger.
Where I'm sure they hope he keeps making free throws for somebody. 2 free throws for Munch. 10-point deficit now. And the ball out of bounds. Last touch by Schmidt. And on the turnover, Carlton gets it back. Well, these are exactly the kind of situations that the Bulldogs need to capitalize on to get back in this game. When they get an opportunity, they have to get something out of it. At least get a good scoring opportunity. This is Bain. Man-to-man defense by Kildee. Pearsall took a look, then put it on the floor. Tried to get it ahead to Wilson, intercepted by Hansen. Here comes Kildee. Ahead for Schmidt. You saw Schmidt looking for some help and not getting any. And elected to take the timeout so as not to lose possession. That count was just about at 5, I do believe.
Well, that was a wise move on his part. But down on the defensive end, and the possession prior to it, Hillcrest showing some tremendous man-to-man defense. Doubling up on the ball and then closing off the passing lanes. I'm really impressed with their defense.
I think if there's any one factor that's caused this 10-point deficit for Carlton, Janet, you've hit it on the head. It's the Hillcrest defense. They've been very active and very good. Ryan Garvin will put it in play for the Comets, trying to extend their lead, which is currently 10. Looking inside for Berge. In for Hansen, knocked loose and out of bounds. Last to touch it, though, was Dan Jones of Carlton. So Hillcrest gets it again. 5.5 minutes to play, third quarter. On the Menard scoreboard, Hillcrest Lutheran still leading by 10. Well, it's hard to tell which team they're rooting for, isn't it? I'm guessing Carlton. They look a little concerned.
They do. They do.
Hillcrest with the ball under their own basket. Inbounds pass to Schmidt. And gives it right back to Garvin. Now Kildee. Kildee might have got away with a walk. Berge tried to bounce underneath for the freshman. Hansen gets it up and in. Nick Hansen, the young freshman, playing a very solid game for Hillcrest Lutheran. Has a dozen.
Still and perfect from the field, 5 for 5.
This is Jones for Carlton, knocked loose, but a foul called. Schmidt will draw the personal. Second personal for Nick Schmidt and Dan Jones. Kildee, I thought it was Schmidt. No, never mind. More important for Carlton's standpoint, Dan Jones will be at the free throw line for 2.
I saw Jones at halftime watching the other Carlton players hitting perimeter shots and looking for outside shooting practice, but he was at the free throw line, and it must have helped, Roger.
3 points now for Jones, all on free throws. That personal was against John Kildee. That was his second. So Jones now with 4. Cuts the lead back down to 10. One of the officials over at the scorer's table for a brief discussion. Number 45, Chris Sauter, back in the ball game. Well, I was right all along. They changed the foul back to Schmidt. So Nick Schmidt with a personal foul.
Carlton full court man-to-man defense here. They just haven't really been able to get this lead down to single digits, Roger.
Here's Berge. Hillcrest off for Hansen. Hansen with 14 points. Thanks to some good passing there by Dan Berge.
Exactly.
37-25. Hillcrest by 12 and a foul called. Schmidt picks up his second in a row. And not the kind that coaches like to see, those reaching fouls.
Well, one of the signs of a good team are having players that know each other well enough to know when the best time to get the ball to them is and get the ball to people in good positions and not to try to ask them to do too much. And they've done a great job with Nick Hansen, giving him the ball in a place where he's been so effective.
Yes, they have. And to his credit, you have to be able to finish, and he's done that.
That's right.
They've given him chances, but he's finished. Entry pass intended for Wilson, intercepted by Hillcrest, and here they come again. So they've done a very good job with their interior defense. Kildee couldn't save it. And Carlton will get it back.
Well, Hansen has been a key factor. He's had all of Hillcrest points this quarter, 8 points thus far. And defensively, Roger, Mike Wilson has still not gotten any more points from halftime as far as he's at 10 points right now. And that's what he had at halftime. So Hansen doing it on both ends.
You saw Dan Jones coming back in the ball game, replacing Munch. Jones, number 22 for Carlton. Bulldogs with the ball. This is Sauter. They're down by 12 with just under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. This is Pearsall. Now Jones. Sauter will try it. That's 2. For Sauter now with 3 points. 37-27 as they whittle that deficit back to 10, and Hillcrest with the lead and the ball. This is Kildee playing catch with Garvin. Knocked loose by Pearsall. Garvin recovers. Schmidt off, tried to get it off to Hansen, instead wound up in the hands of Garvin.
Well, they're looking for Hansen because recall Wilson has 3 fouls on him.
Kildee didn't get the 3. Long rebound to Pearsall. Here comes Carlton. Jones with it. Jones. Short jump shot is around and off. Hansen with a rebound. Lead is still 10. Berge at the other end gets the easy one. A foul called. 3-point play attempt coming up for Berge. Foul on Jones. Second personal, and that's kind of the way the game has gone for Carlton. They miss a relatively easy shot at the other end, and that the Hillcrest winds up with a chance at a 3-point play.
That's right. That was a nice shot there by Dan Jones. Exactly what you want to do. Get into the paint for a percentage shot. Just didn't get the roll. And on the other end, there's the up-court pass to Berge, who gets 2 and is at the free throw line for one more. Jones trying to prevent him from making the layup, not able to do that.
Doesn't get the roll on the free throw. Jones has it go off his foot, recovered by Hansen. Now Scheid. Arbuckle back in the game, number 22. Scheid will try it. That's a 3. Ball tipped loose, recovered by Hansen off the hands of Berge, and Hansen scores again. Hansen with 16. That one the result of some very active movement by Dan Berge, keeping that ball alive. 41-27, biggest lead of the game for Hillcrest Lutheran. 2:27 to play. Pearsall for 3, doesn't go. This is Scheid. Ahead for Kildee. Pearsall. No. Oh my gosh. Pearsall came flying over the scorer's table, clunked right into one of the cheerleaders from Hillcrest Lutheran. She took a bit of a jolt, but she looks like she's okay. She's kind of smiling. Great effort there by Pearsall. Well, the young lady's up and all right. We think she's going to be okay. She took a pretty good jolt, but she bounced right back up. So great effort all around there.
I think she took a shot to the mouth, though. I hope she'll be all right.
Well, we have a break in a lot of action right now. 2:21 to play in the third quarter of our single-A semifinal game here at Williams Arena. On the Menard scoreboard, Hillcrest Lutheran with their biggest lead of the afternoon at 14 points. Well, we're happy to report that the cheerleader from Hillcrest Lutheran, we don't know the young lady's name, is okay. She came out of that pile-up smiling as you see Sam Pearsall flying over the scorer's table. With the glasses and the receding hairline here, Brian Wicker of the Star Tribune, a chance to make that play, came up empty. There she is. She's okay. Well, I think she saw Pearsall coming and got about a half step back at just the right moment and got hit, but not as bad as it could have been.
Well, she's okay, and I'm glad Sam Pearsall's okay because it was quite a collision.
Two foul shots coming here for Dan Scheid. Scheid now with 5 points. Number 40, Matt Kurtula, back in the ball game for Carlton. Scheid with the second of 2. Now has 6. So Hillcrest extending their biggest lead of the game to 16 points at 43-27. This is Jones. Now Pearsall and Sauter. Well, this game is right on the bubble, I think, for Carlton, Jack. They got to get things squared away in a big hurry. They'll try a 3, and they get it. No basket. Well, that's the way things have gone.
And that's a really bad sign, Roger.
Joe Bain with the 3-pointer, but away from the play. A foul was called. The basket's disallowed. Oh, that's a nasty, nasty break for Carlton. And Joe Bain says, please explain that one to me.
Well, Bain finally found the mark. That would have brought them to within 13 here.
Chris Sauter with the personal, his first. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. Really the first good-looking perimeter shot they've had in a long while, and they come up with not only no basket, but a personal foul. Sauter picks up the loose ball. Here come the Bulldogs again, down 43-27 with a minute 40 to play. Pearsall with a three, doesn't go. Jones with a long rebound. Sauter. Spin move away from Berge. Blocked by Berge. Recovers into the hands of Scheid. Good defensive work there by Dan Berge, the 6'3" senior from Hillcrest Lutheran. You see the third quarter winding down, and the Comets have to like their position right now. This is Scheid. He'll try it. Long rebound to Jones. Jones ahead for Pearsall. Cross court. They'll try a three again. This one they don't get. Arbuckle down to the rebound. Bain tried to hit from the same spot, but came up empty that time. Arbuckle back quickly. Under a minute to play. We'll see if they play for one. They're leading by 14. They may just keep playing. There, the shot is blocked away, but a foul called. Pearsall with a personal. That's his first. And Jesse Arbuckle will go to the free throw line for Hillcrest Lutheran.
Well, Pearsall went to the floor hard here after this block. He's had two nasty fouls this quarter.
Sam Pearsall's been on the floor everywhere. He's been on the cement behind us and now down on the court. Arbuckle looking for his first point of the day. We'll get one more opportunity. Substitutions for both teams. For Hillcrest Lutheran, number 45, Doug Rogness. Number 55, Settle Vilkeson. And number 40, Nick Schmidt back in.
And that's a smart move by Greg Preston here to give his players a little bit longer rest with the quarter break coming up here. 46.7 seconds.
Paul Stein, excuse me, Janet, number 20, Paul Stein in the ball game for Carlton. As is number, it'll just be Stein. Bain looking inside for Sauter. Stein fakes, will try his first shot. Rebound, Rogness tipped loose. Rogness again, scramble for it. Jones recovered for Carlton. 24 seconds to play. Bain with a shot, gets it. Joe Bain with 4 points. Kildy back quickly for Hillcrest Lutheran. Plenty of time, and he's going to be called for an offensive foul. Well, John Kildy just got out of control. His team with a substantial lead. They got a little bit carried away.
Number 22 there, Dan Jones, making it happen on both ends. Here you can see on the replay, that was Bain starting to light it up. But Dan Jones has been getting rebounds on both ends, recovering balls, drawing the charge.
Carlton has to hurry. 6 seconds. Bain will try the three. Rebound tipped loose. Foul call. That's going to be foul against Schmidt. Nick Schmidt, I believe, pushing from behind on the rebound. Is that 4?
Well, it's 15 foul. So,
fourth personal for Schmidt. Wilson back for Carlton.
Well, look for a lob to Wilson. Wilson probably will try to take it in the air. 0.9 is not a lot of time. He's got to get it, just touch it and take it.
Stein will try it. As you see, Mike Debney on the Carlton bench looking for something good to happen, hoping for that last second shot, but didn't get it. So 3 quarters finished in our single A semifinal game at Williams Arena. On the Menard scoreboard, the Hillcrest Academy Comets in white cruising along with a 15-point lead.
From tournaments past, this great clip brought to you by Great Clips for Hair.
Minnetonka hadn't visited the state tournament since 1965 when they won the title. 33 years later, and only their second tournament appearance, history repeated itself. Junior Shane Schilling scored in 26 points, setting the Skippers on a course for history. Minnetonka defeated Egan 65-57 for the 98 4A championship.
This great clip was brought to you by Great Clips for Hair.
The first truck of its kind.
Carlton with the ball to start the fourth and final quarter. The Bulldogs down by 15. Paul Stein will put it in play. to Bain. Well, we're going to see some threes here from the Bulldogs, I would think, Janet. They got to get something going in a hurry.
Well, I mentioned earlier in the broadcast how Bain, there it's the pass inside to Sauter, but Bain, number 24, was 6 for 6 from the three-point range in the quarterfinal game. Sam Pearsall also known to be a good three-point shooter. He is on a bench at the moment. Not sure if he's just resting to make one last run here.
Nick Hansen with the personal foul, his third for Hillcrest. Sauter with 2 free throws, gets the roll on that one. So Chris Sauter now with 4 points in the afternoon, and one more coming. 14-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran. Didn't get that one. Rebound to Garvin. So the Comets with the lead and the ball. 56% field goal shooting by Hillcrest Lutheran. Well, you're going to win a lot of games doing that. Ball tipped loose by Sauter into the hands of Stein. Here come the Bulldogs.
Yeah, that is just outstanding. And sometimes when you run up against a team who is shooting that well from the field, it's just going to be a really tough task to overcome it.
Jones for 3. Off the iron into the hands of Berge. Oh, Ryan Garvin walking it up. They're certainly in no hurry. His team leading by 14 at 44-30. Scheid will fire away. Rebound to Bain. I think Greg Preston probably would like to talk about shot selection on that one. Here's Jones for Carlton. Stein. Now Sauter inside Wilson. Wilson double teamed immediately. Got it back to Sauter.
And Carlton cannot afford to let work this much time on every possession.
Jones with a short jumper in the lane, didn't get it. Rebound to Berge.
They don't want to rush the shot, but they've got to start looking a little more quickly to the basket.
Not a bad shot by Jones right there. Short jump shot, but again would not go down. Been that kind of a day for Carlton. Here's Garvin, blocked from behind. Out of bounds. Hillcrest will retain possession. Substitution coming up for Carlton. Number 21, Tim Munch, will check back in when we come out of the timeout. We have a break now with 6:16 to play in the game. On the Oldsmobile scoreboard, Hillcrest Lutheran leading 44-30. There's our 14-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. A lot of it having to do with rebounding. Hillcrest with 24, Carlton 18. Hansen and Berge, the 2 inside players for Hillcrest Lutheran, have combined for 15 rebounds. That's a big part of this game. Pass intended for Hansen, intercepted by Jones. So Carlton, needing something to happen, gets an opportunity.
Hansen not quite set that time, and they didn't have a good passing angle to the inside.
Ball knocked away from Jones, recovered by Hansen. So they trade turnovers, and at the other end, Garvin winds up all alone.
Oh, is that a pretty play?
Garvin now with 7. 16-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran.
I didn't think Garvin was even going to be able to catch that ball. He caught it with one hand and shot it with the other.
Jones fakes it. That'll be a 2-shot attempt, or 2-point attempt, I should say. Rebound tipped loose from Stein, and a foul called. Nick Hansen with the personal, and he knew it. He kind of had that sheepish, guilty look about him there as soon as the whistle went off. That's his 4th personal. So Coach Greg Preston will make a move immediately. Doug Rogness coming in the ballgame, number 45. He's a 6'4" senior. Rogness played considerably in the first half.
Well, let's take a look at that last play by Garvin. Up with the right hand to catch it, and then a wraparound with the left. That was a pretty play.
Paul Stein at the free throw line for Carlton. 2 shots. One more for Stein. It's a 1-and-1, excuse me. But he made the most of it. 2 points now for Stein. Hillcrest in control at 47-32. All alone underneath. Berge blocked away by Wilson. Oh, great looking opportunity there and a fine defensive play by Wilson. Here's Carlton. This is Munch. Stein took a look. Kurdla, number 40, back in the ball game. Munch for 3. Gets it. Tim Munch.
And there.
That's the first 3-pointer of the day for Carlton. A foul called in the scramble right in front of the Carlton bench. You see Coach Mike Debney holding his head as a personal called against Tim Munch. That's his first.
Well, Munch
seventh team foul. Excuse me, Jim.
Excuse me. Munch feeling good about that three-point shot, wanting to get into a pressure defense situation and go full court denial. He just got caught out of position there.
Right now it's an 11-point game, so Carlton with plenty of time. They have to do some good things, but ample time with over 5 minutes remaining. Scheid will get one more. Scheid now with 7 points.
They definitely have kind of hung in this 10, 12-point range for quite a while. They're just going to need to step it up here. They trail 13 now at the 5-minute mark.
Carlton in need of some offense, obviously, which they've struggled with, but just as important, some defensive stops. This is Wilson. Wilson has it knocked away, recovered, and out ahead of everybody is Berge. Berge. Dan Berge with 12, and as has gone all day long, exactly when Carlton needs something good to happen, the opposite has occurred.
Well, Berge doubled down on Wilson and came up with the ball and converted for 2 on the other end.
Rognus with the block inside. Ball out of bounds. Last touched by Hillcrest Lutheran. Mike Debney thought there should have been a foul on that play. He probably has an argument on that one. But at any rate, his team will get the ball back. Jesse Arbuckle will check back in for Hillcrest Lutheran, replacing Garvin. Paul Stein will put it in play for Carlton. Stein tried to get it across court to Munch, instead intercepted by Hillcrest, and here's Arbuckle back for the Comets. 4.5 minutes to play. Stein out of his hands and out of bounds. Last touch, they say, by Stein, I believe. As you look at Coach Greg Preston on the floor above the Hillcrest Lutheran bench. Inbounds for Arbuckle.
With a 15-point lead, Roger, they don't want to go into any kind of a stall, but they do want to try to get a look at the basket every time down. Big steal there by Bain.
Joe Bain now with 6 points as he just flat out picked their pocket on that one. 50-37. 13-point lead again, and here's the turnover again. Bain for Carlton, off for Stein. Stein at the baseline, tried to get it to Wilson, recovered by Bain, and he is fouled. John Kildee with the personal. His third. So Joe Bain at the free throw line, and the best of all worlds for Carlton, a chance to score points with the clock stopped. So both teams with a chance to talk it over. There's the last flurry and the steal there by Bain. So Carlton still down by 13, but showing signs of life on the Oldsmobile scoreboard. They're down 50-37. Well, Carlton needing some offense brings Sam Pearsall back in the game. He's been out for a few minutes. He's the young fellow who's taken a couple of hard falls here this afternoon. One of them diving over the scorer's table, another on the court. But he's back now.
Well, as leading scorer, I'm sure that Carlton's Mike Debney needs him in the game right now here. They trail by 12.
Second free throw coming for Joe Bain. He now has 7 points. And 8.
Bain starting to heat up, and he just for his sake, he hopes it's not too late.
50-39. Hillcrest Lutheran with the lead and the ball. Pass blocked by Wilson. Here come the Bulldogs again. So Carlton now with a little jump in their step. Stein for 3. Long rebound into the hands of Munch. They'll reset. No, they'll fire away with Bain. Rebound, Stein. He's tied up. Jump ball. Possession arrow goes to Hillcrest.
Wilson had his hands on it, but he also saw his teammate there. He didn't want to be called for the travel, so he let it go.
Stein tied up by Berge on the jump ball. It'll be Hillcrest ball. Full court pressure, as they must, by Carlton. Garvin, the cross-court pass to Scheid. Scheid, I think, got away with a walk. No, he didn't. The ball out of bounds, but I think he's traveled before he lost control of the ball. So the turnover goes to Carlton. Mike Debney now up off the Carlton bench, shouting some instructions. Here's Munch for the Bulldogs. They trail by 11. Still over 3 minutes to play. They need offense quickly, but they're certainly not out of it. Munch tried to dribble down the lane, knocked away from him. Here's Garvin back for Hillcrest Lutheran. Scheid looking for some help, gets it there from Garvin. I think they'd reset and run some time off the clock if they can. Scheid with it. Heck with that. Let's fire away. Long rebound into the hands of Stein. Stein ahead for Munch. Munch contested there by Berge. Didn't get it. Loose rebound picked up by whom? Paul Stein had it for Carlton, but play whistled down, and Hillcrest is going to get it back. I think he may have been out of bounds.
I think he was on the line also. Looks like Hillcrest wants a timeout.
Now, 22nd requested by Greg Preston, and I'm sure he just wants his guys to kind of get the pace of the game back under control. They're starting to run around a little bit, which is the last thing you want to do when you have an 11-point lead with 2:50 to play. I'm sure he's saying, Janet, let's get into the offense, take some time off the clock, make sure we get a good shot, because right now, or very shortly, Carlton's going to be in a position where they're going to have to foul.
Both teams in the bonus situation. Nice to see Carlton showing some spark, though, and some life here today. They really just came out flat in the first half, Roger, and it's been an uphill climb the rest of the way for them.
It has. This is the best life they've shown in the entire game. Kildee gets it ahead for Garvin. This is Garvin, picked up there by Stein. Kildee will fire away. Three-point attempt, no good. Rebound tip loose, recovered by Hansen. Didn't get it. Hansen again. That's a huge basket for the young freshman. 18 points for Nick Hansen. Pushes the lead back to 13. Here's Pearsall for Carlton. No basket, but the foul called against Berge. For Berge, his third. And that should be a shooting foul. Pearsall will have two.
On the other end, Hansen with his first miss of the game. He's 7 for 8 from the field.
That's a pretty good day in the state semifinals, isn't it?
8 for 9.
Pearsall will get one more. Sam Pearsall now with 5 points.
One left. Come on, no way.
Pearsall with 6. 52-41. Again, the Hillcrest lead is 11. They're into the forecourt with Scheid. 2:15 to play in the game. Scheid for Garvin. Tried to get it underneath for Hansen. There he is again. Well, this kid shot a lot of layups today, hasn't he? 20 points for Hansen. Timeout called by Carlton. There's Mike Debney again down by 13. Still looking for answers here this afternoon. And unfortunately for the Bulldogs, not finding very many. 2:03 to play in our semifinal game in Class 1A on the Oldsmobile scoreboard. Hillcrest Lutheran Academy with a 13-point lead over Carlton. Carlton will have the ball as we resume play. Pearsall to put it in play. This is Bain. They need some points in a hurry. Pearsall for 3. Didn't get it. Rebound Hansen. Now Garvin. So Hillcrest should have this thing pretty well under control right now. Hansen kicks it back out. They don't need any more points. They just need time off the clock. Here's Garvin. All alone, Hansen. Snappy passing there by Hillcrest Lutheran gets the 22nd point for Nick Hansen. 56-41. So Hillcrest Lutheran Academy will advance and play Southwest Minnesota Christian.
And look at that statistic that was just on your screen there. 38-18 points in the paint.
Wow.
That's the reason, Roger, that Hillcrest has shot such a great percentage for the whole game.
Well, we were half joking about it during our timeout. 22 points for Nick Hansen. And good heavens, 14 or 16 of those are from a foot and a half.
That's right.
Here's Scheid. He'll take it all the way for Hillcrest Lutheran. Play whistle down. Offensive foul against Dan Scheid. That'll be his 4th.
Well, Scheid might have forced that one a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Greg Preston, I think, explaining the time and score here just briefly to Dan Scheid, saying we don't need that one. Carlton with the ball and a big deficit facing them. Pearsall for 3. This one he gets. Pearsall now with 9. 56-44, under a minute to play. Hillcrest Lutheran will advance. Garvin took a look. Carlton trying to stop the clock, which they do. There's the foul call against number 21, Tim Munch, just his second personal. That'll put Scheid at the free throw line for the 1-and-1. 56-44, 12-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran, and Scheid with a chance to add on with less than a minute to play. Jesse Arbuckle checking back in for Hillcrest Lutheran, replacing Hansen. 1-and-1 for Scheid. Scheid with 9 can get to double figures. Get another free throw as you look at number 34, Mike Wilson, on the Carlton bench. Very disappointed. Chris Sauter, number 45. 2 free throws for Scheid gives him 10. As we said, Carlton played in the title game last year and took a pretty good roughing up from Norman County East as that team won the A title. I'm sure they wanted to get back again, but it's not going to happen. Munch with a three-pointer. Tim Munch now with 8. Scheid gets it ahead to Arbuckle. He'll take it all the way for the layup attempt. Didn't get it. Under 20 seconds. 11-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran. Pearsall with the shot attempt and a foul called. I think that's 3. Was he inside the arc or out? Yes, outside the arc. So 3 free throws coming for Sam Pearsall. Dan Berge with the personal foul for Hillcrest Lutheran. That's his 4th.
Well, Greg Preston showing a lot of poise there on the bench throughout the game, but he just kind of shook his head. You can tell that foul bothered him.
Well, they'll have a chat about that after the game. You can be assured of that. That's a dozen points now for Pearsall with yet another free throw coming. And you see Joe Bain coming over to one of the officials saying, we want a timeout after this free throw, and they get it. So the lead is down to 8. Hillcrest Lutheran will have the ball.
And Preston managing a small smile here. I don't know who would have given Hillcrest Lutheran Academy a chance against Red Lake, the number 1 team. They defeated them in the quarterfinals. 68-51. They went on a 22-2 run during that game.
Well, there's the matchup for tomorrow afternoon. Southwest Minnesota Christian against Hillcrest Lutheran Academy for the single-A title. I see that as a very active defensive game for one thing, Janet. Both teams at the defensive end work awfully hard, try and create turnovers, particularly Southwest Minnesota Christian. They've always got their hands in there trying to knock the ball loose. So we're going to see some diving on the floor, some defensive work, and some up and down in that game, I would guess. Eight-point lead for Hillcrest Lutheran. Scheid will put it in play. Just under 18 seconds to play. We should see an immediate foul, I would think. Well, a near tackle by Dan Jones. Had he been able to catch Jesse Arbuckle a little quicker. We're going to call that correctly a deliberate foul. It's not often called, but you really can't argue it. So 2 shots coming here for Arbuckle. Mike Debney saying, when's the last time you saw that call? Well, not very often. He's right on that, but in that instance that the official chooses to call it, you can't argue very much.
Well, he had a glimmer of hope here, trailing 16.5 seconds. It's been known to happen that the team can come back with a 3-point shot. But those free throws make it that much more difficult.
They're
now
tough.
They trail by 10, and they get the possession of the ball, of course.
Arbuckle with 2 free throws, his only 2 points of the day, as a matter of fact. They'll have to foul him again, although they may elect not to. The game is basically over. Scheid will get the easy one. Scheid with 12 points. 5 seconds. Bain. Ball knocked loose. Jones will fire up the last one. Good if it goes. It does not. So Hillcrest Lutheran Academy advances to the single-A championship game with a 62-50 win. There you see the longtime friends, Greg Preston And Mike Debney with a smile, but for Mike Debney, I would think a smile is tough to generate here this afternoon. His team, I think, had big expectations, Janet, and not very much went right for him.
Well, it's difficult when you are not able to do as well as you did the year before. Of course, they were runner-up last year. They hoped to be able to get back in that championship game and go one better. But it's Hillcrest Lutheran Academy telling the whole state that this may be our first time at the state tournament. We're going to let everybody know who we are and put our school, located in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, on the map.
62-50 is the final score. As Hillcrest, as Janet indicated, making the most of it. We should mention that Hillcrest, a lot of these guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of the game, played in the 9-man football championship back in November. So big games are not unfamiliar to a lot of players on this roster. And they'll have another opportunity tomorrow afternoon against Southwest Minnesota Christian. Now, that has the makings, I think, of, as I said, sort of an up-and-down, fast-paced, exciting game. All right, Hillcrest wins it, and here's Andy.
Thank you very much. I am with freshman Nick Hansen, 22 points for Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. First of all, congratulations. You guys came out, pretty much controlled this game, dominated this game. Is this the way that you had planned things to go?
Yeah, we just wanted to come out and stop them. We knew that our defense has been what's bringing us here all the time, and we just had to play defense and stop them.
Tell me what it means to Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. Not only first trip to the state tournament, you're in the championship game.
Oh, this is just great. I mean, yeah, it is the first time we've ever been here, and I don't know how to express my feelings. It's just so much fun. I mean, we did this in football. We made it here, and we lost in the championship there, but now we want to come back and win it here.
Nick, great game. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right, Nick Hansen, 22 points for Hillcrest Lutheran Academy. They're in the 1A championship game. Janet and Roger have the Chevrolet Play and Player of the Game when we come back.
I'll have more. 62-50 is the final as Hillcrest Lutheran Academy advances to the 1A championship game here at Williams Arena this afternoon. 12-point final margin, Janet, probably fair enough because Hillcrest was a sharper team basically all day.
They really were, and you can't argue with that great shooting percentage.
Oh, my.
The points in the paint really killed them, and team balance. I think they just dominated really in every aspect of the game defensively and on the boards, too. Really an impressive performance by a very small school.
Very much so at the defensive end, I thought, particularly, and we talked about that. As you heard Nick Hansen say to Andy, they've talked defense all year long. It's what got them here, and they showed that here this afternoon. Let's look at our Chevrolet Play of the Game, not so much because it's a particular basket, but because it shows the sort of snappy passing we saw from Hillcrest all day long. Rebound, bang, bang, let's shoot a layup, and we saw an awful lot of that this afternoon here at Williams Arena. Ryan Garvin with the basket, and that's our Chevrolet Play of the Game because the Hillcrest Lutheran Comets moved the ball around very well. We kind of joked a little bit during the course of the game about Nick Hansen shooting a lot of layups. You don't get those opportunities unless your teammates are passing very, very well.
That's right, and on that play of the game, Garvin did not take any dribbles. He just turned and pivoted and under control and got the basket. Hansen, the same thing. This is a well-coached kid. He may only be a freshman, but he didn't put the ball on the floor and just got the job done.
Well, his teammates gave him opportunities, but to his credit, he finished, and there's our guy.
He is the player of the game. And he was just one off of a state record here, single-game record 10 for 10 from the field. And you can see he was just one off, 9 for 10. And an outstanding day, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. And I just have to kind of remember back a few years because I remember my first outing at the state tournament. I was kind of wide-eyed like Nick Hansen as a freshman, was 14 for 16 from the field. And I didn't do much other than turn around and shoot just like he did, but I know I was a big part of our win, and I just did what the older people told me to do. And Nick Hansen, what a performance by a young man today. Berge also had a great
oh, yes. We'll get Dan
game.
Berge, honorable mention, our American Dairy Association player of the game. Nice job by Nick Hansen. We laughed about it, as we said, just a little bit, but the young man finished. Now, here's the conversations that's going to take place in the Hillcrest locker room. When they see that stat, he made 9 of 10, somebody's going to say, Hansen, you cost me an assist. What's the matter with you? but they'll be laughing about it for good reason. 62-50 is the final score. Hillcrest Lutheran Academy advancing to the single-A championship game, and the Comets deserved it. They played awfully well here this afternoon, as you see some of their fans celebrating. We'll be back in just a moment.
So much for senior experience. Freshman phenom Nick Hansen, 22 points, 10 rebounds for Hillcrest Academy. They defeat Carlton 62-50 for the Class 1 to advance to the Class 1A title game. They will face Southwest Christian in the 1A title. Southwest Christian defeated Rushford Peterson this afternoon 57-49. So the 1A title game, it is set. The tip-off in that one is 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.